Hi, I'm Kriszta, and I'm introverted. I'm introverted, and I see that as a good thing. Because being introverted is like having brown hair or being short. It's not something that you can change about yourself, but it is something that you can either hate or love. For me, there were definitely some moments where I wanted to change it, and it took me some time to learn to be comfortable with it and use it to my advantage. I suppose it's different for everyone, but and people say that you should think about introversion and extroversion in terms of a scale, not in absolutes. But here are some things that I think make me an introvert. I just need to be alone sometimes to recharge. I like people, I like being around people. I need being around people sometimes. But I also just need to be by myself on occasion in order to be able to be around people again. So that's probably the biggest one. When I am in a social situation, especially in a big group, I tend not to speak all that much. I'm not usually in the center of attention, and I usually only talk when I feel like I have something to say. Also, I very often prefer to just meet up with one or two or three friends instead of with a big group. I have fewer friends, but they are really close ones, and I do need to be close to someone in order to feel comfortable around them. Lastly, I'm just not that great at coming up with witty responses or big ideas on the spot. I usually have to mull things over on my own. So I come from a small town in Romania, in Transylvania, but when I graduated high school, I decided to go to university abroad. I've always been hardworking and had a good academic track record, so I applied to the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, and I got in, which was kind of a big deal. When I was preparing to leave, the piece of advice I heard most frequently from well meaning high school teachers, family friends, or classmates was that I should live a little more, just have fun and not care about grades so much, make friends, enjoy life, enjoy my experience, because these 4 years are supposed to be some of the best of my life. And I did actually leave for Scotland with the full intention of doing that. I was looking forward to some partying, getting those drinks in, making friends, finding love, having late night wine fueled conversations about the meaning of life and whatnot. I ended up having a great university experience. I felt inspired and stimulated, and I did form some lifelong friendships. But, surprise! It didn't happen by transforming quiet, contemplative Kriszta into some outgoing party animal or a social butterfly. And this is something that I really struggled with for a time. I wanted to be that fun person who can be charming and entertain crowds, who has good stories and enjoys a party. But I just wasn't, and I'm still not. And I think learning to accept that has been one of my greatest accomplishments. So, in my first year, or even in my first 2 years, I had some difficult periods where I felt lonely, and I was really hard on myself for not living the sort of life I thought a first year student should. No work hard, play hard for me. I think that was mainly due to my introversion, although having a slight social anxiety certainly didn't help matters. However, I did slowly build up a circle of friends that I felt really comfortable around. I realized that breakfast or coffee dates and movie nights work better for me than large gatherings. Although I do enjoy a large gathering when there's at least one person that I really trust. I did go to parties and balls during my time at university. My Polish friend organized a 1920s themed house party once, and we got all dressed up, and it was great. My other friend danced at some event and invited a bunch of us to go and watch her, and then we also danced, and that was fun. But whenever these things happened, I had to be surrounded by people that I felt comfortable around in order to be able to have fun. Over time, I let go of the idea that I should be this bubbly, fun person with crazy stories, and I started to appreciate the qualities that I do have. I found that I'm a good listener, that I'm good at asking the right questions and getting people to open up. And guess what? people tend to really appreciate that. I found that you can sometimes notice things from the sidelines that you wouldn't notice if you're the one in the center of all attention. And I found that there's a lot of magic in doing things by yourself, in traveling by yourself, going for a meal with just a book, going to the cinema on your own. It's not better than going with your friends, it's just different, and you can learn a lot from it. I also found that it's not a struggle for me to just lock myself away to my room when I have an essay to write. It doesn't make me go as crazy as some of my friends, and that has certainly helped with academics. I did graduate with a first-class degree. So I'm sure that everyone who gave me those pieces of advice about enjoying life a little more meant well, but their definition of a great time and my definition of a great time are different, and I don't think that they or I knew that at the time. So my piece of advice would be this. If you're introverted or tend to get anxious, or you're just not a social butterfly, own it. Instead of wasting time trying to fight those traits, work on how you can use them to your advantage in your personal or professional life. Introversion is cool and beautiful too.